Well, what is going on, guys? Welcome on into another episode of In and on the Net. We're going to talk about blowing up a night crawler to maximize your success by floating the worm from the bottom, making it a little more visible for the fish to see from a distance. If the worm is sitting on the bottom, you know it's definitely going to be harder for the fish to locate. They're going to have to find it by looking around or using their nose. Whereas when you float a night crawler up off of the bottom, it becomes really visible from a long distance away, and it definitely gets a lot more bites. You're gonna need a worm blower. You can pick these up at almost any tackle retailer. This one I picked up from Bi-Mart. It was only $2.49. Super worth having inside the tackle box for how cheap they are. We're gonna want to set up a slip weight style coming out to a swivel to a leader, and then you're gonna wanna make sure to use a pretty small bait hook. The heavier the hook, the harder it's going to be to float the night crawler. The first thing that you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna grab yourself a pretty decent sized night crawler. He needs to be large enough that we can get a hook in him and we can get enough air that he's gonna be able to float. Take the smaller size bait hook, and we're gonna start up here at the top of the night crawler, and we're just gonna slide him onto that hook just about to the heart section of the worm and pop that barb out so that the hook is just up in the top section of the worm. Now we want to take our worm blower, and we're going to need to remove our protective cap from the needle, and then we slowly begin to fill the night crawler. He's going to move around a whole bunch, but we're going to slowly fill the night crawler with just a little bit of air. You can see he starts to blow up, but we don't want to overdo it and explode the worm full of air. So I've got a decent amount of air up in this section here, so now I'm just going to kind of come down a little bit, and we're going to get into this section, add a little bit of air, and then finally come down towards the tail of the crawler, and we're going to add a little bit of air down in there. Once we feel like we've got enough air inside the crawler, it is definitely worth it to take him to the water and make sure that he is floating. So as you guys can see inside of our little tester tank, our night crawler is floating. I have a super short leader in there. The only reason why I'm doing that is so that, you know, my bait tank is not very tall, doesn't have a whole lot of water, so I wanted to make sure that we can really see that worm being fully submerged. But you're going to want to use a lot longer leader than just a couple of inches, depending on the circumstance. You know, if you're fishing fish that are spawning and they're hanging out real close to the bottom, then you may want to actually use a short leader like this. But obviously, the higher in the water column we can get the night crawler, the fish are going to be able to see that from a longer distance away. Well, that's it, guys. There's nothing else to it. It's really rather simple. Throw that worm out there, let the rod sit and wait for the bite. Another super effective way to fish a night crawler is with a bobber up on the top water, and I've got this awesome video right here that shows that setup if you want to go and check that out. Until next time, guys, we will see you. Stay fishy.